So I ask you tonight, do you want to be a great, victorious overcomer? Yes. All right, then what is it that you've got to have more than anything else to be an overcomer? We have heard all the answers. In fact, I went around today to the different ones. I had a little recorder and I asked the question. And there was not one right answer in the whole lot. Now, do you want to be a great overcomer? Then you better find out what you got to have more than anything else to be an overcomer. The Bible clearly says, to him who overcomes, I will grant to eat of the tree of life in the paradise of God. Revelation 2:11 says, he who overcomes shall not be hurt by the second death. Revelation 2:17 says, to him who overcomes, to him I will give some of the hidden manna. I will give him a white stone and a new name written on the stone. Revelation 3:21 says, or 3:12 rather, he who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Revelation 3:21 says, he who overcomes, I will grant to him to sit down with me on my throne. Revelation 21:7, he who overcomes shall inherit these things. I will be his God, and he will be my son. If you want to eat of the tree of life, if you want to have that new name, if you want to be a pillar in the temple of God, to sit down with him, and all these things, then you must be an overcomer. But what is it that you've got to have more than anything else to be an overcomer? More than faith, more than courage, more than the law of God, more than 10 gallons of gas to get here, more than endurance, more than Jesus Christ. What is it you've got to have? You've got to have something to overcome. Think about it. If you don't have something to overcome, you cannot be an overcomer. Amen. No matter how much faith, no matter how much of your courage or whatever you might answer, you've got to have something to overcome. I would ask you tonight, do you want to be an overcomer? Yes. Do you want God then to give you what you need to be an overcomer? Yes. It's free for the asking. You get it whether you ask it or not. And that is something to overcome, and that is something that we've got to understand. When our God hands us those things to overcome, what do? We moan and we groan. We pick up the cards that he dealt us, and we look at them, and we complain, and we call it stress, we call it problems, we call it cross to bear, we call it more stress, we call it bad luck, we call it hard times, we call it a heartache and sorrow and burden. Overcomers see it as the very thing they need to be able to eat of the tree of life, to be called the Son of God, to have that new name. It's the opportunity to run the race, to finish the course. And I'm telling you tonight, it's an obstacle course. Obstacles that he puts there so that you, his people, can glorify his name and be overcomers. Won't hurt my feelings any. How many times have I seen, though, Christians pick up the hand, they look at the deck, they toss it down and say, I quit. I was given a bad hand. Why couldn't I have what he has to overcome? He gives you whatever you need, but if you play by his rules, you will win the game. No matter what initial hand has been dealt to you in life. So start thinking that way, the way of an overcomer. Look at Hebrews chapter 12. In verse 1 it says, therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Keep your finger there in text. Note, though, the verse that we just read. Note there that we have a cloud of witnesses. You heard the poem tonight based on a true story, which is just one little molecule in that huge cloud that follows Israel like the Shekinah through the world of history. We are a people who overcome. We don't get overcome, we overcome. That's our mission. Our history is full of overcomers, great overcomers. It runs in our blood. It ticks in our genes. All we have to do is once again awaken it.